So there we go. Impeccably observed. Craig Pawson is our referee, bedecked in orange this afternoon for this evening kickoff. Newcastle United in their traditional black and white stripes, yet to really get going this season. Certainly not to the extent they did last year, whereas Brentford are unbeaten in 4 and looking to be unbeaten in 5 for the first time in 21 years. So here we go. In fact, it's not won 2 away games to start a league season for the first time in 21 years. It's 2013-14 the last time that Brentford started with 5 unbeaten games, and they are on the front foot early doors here as Mbeumo goes through on the right hand side. Elliot Anderson slides in midway into the Newcastle half, but Mbeumo really squeezing up on Newcastle here. Likewise Yohan Wissa, Matt. I think we're already seeing that Brentford haven't come here to sit behind the ball.
No, definitely not. I think they're too good to do that these days, aren't they? Again, as I said before the game, if Brentford can start well and really put Newcastle under pressure, the crowd will turn, but the atmosphere won't be as intense as they would normally have it.
So it's a Brentford throw midway inside their own half, left-hand side, looking to expose whatever weaknesses they can find in this Newcastle side. Nicely turned round a corner that time in midfield, but Newcastle have won it back, and now it will be Fabian Scherer finds Guimaraes, who's the anchor man, the pivot from which a lot of their play starts from Newcastle. Ball played into the channels, looking for Callum Wilson, but he's double teamed that time by Christian Norgard and Matthias Jensen, and they've got the ball back here, Brentford, but then they lose it again to Newcastle down this left-hand side. BBC Radio London Sport then, a thrilling afternoon in the Premier League Championship and across the EFL as well. Plenty of reaction to come at half-time, and it's raucous here on this cathedral on the hill as Botman up to halfway for Newcastle, slips the ball wide left to Byrne, back to Botman. Again, Brentford squeezing him, and that almost fell for Jensen that time, but then Yohan Wissa is penalised for a shove on Dan Byrne, which looks soft for me. Dan Byrne's about 6'4", and he went tumbling like a toddler. And now we're seeing Newcastle's turn to take this ball forward. Gordon into the edge of the penalty area, and then Brentford win it back with Vitaly Janel. Under pressure goes all the way back to Rico Henry. And Brentford have a throw. Matt Lockwood, it's been harum-scarum so far.
Yeah, it has. I think Brentford have started obviously with the back 5, and it's one of those where I think the 3 at the back are really going to have to talk to the midfield, because at the moment the 3 of them are just marking Wilson.
Oh, Anderson's got away up to the edge of the penalty area here, slips it wide to this right side for Barnes, tries to curl in into the penalty area, headed away by Pinnock, only as far as Guimaraes. Yohan Wissa really bundles him out of the way, fairly but fiercely, and here come Brentford now on the break. Wissa takes it out to this right side and then slips it into the path of Hickey, and Hickey rolls it down the line now for Jensen. Ball into the penalty area, almost into a Brentford shirt. Hickey wins it back. Jensen from this right hand side, looking to curl one in perhaps, knocks it into the box for Hickey. Hickey goes for the shot, well saved by Pope, turned away only as far as another Brentford shirt, and it's Collins on this right hand side. Will he look to cross? Hickey getting forward early doors for Brentford. That one is tossed into the penalty area and then hooked away by Botman. And again, more pressure from Brentford. They've won the ball back again, Matt.
Yeah, no, great passage of play there. Jensen and Hickey down this right-hand side was fantastic. Great movement off the ball and getting in behind Dan Byrne.
Oh, Jensen just couldn't bring that ball down as it was fired into the corner. Couldn't quite draw that one in, and it will be Newcastle ball throwing on this near side for them. Down this right-hand side. 0-0. We played just under 4 minutes, and it has been frantic fare already, Matt Lockwood.
It has, but just going back to that chance though, obviously Jensen down this right-hand side, he's a great little disguised pass into Hickey. Hickey made a great little run into the box, and everyone thought Jensen was going to play the ball back to someone in midfield maybe, and he just dinked a little one round the corner.
Oh, and Mbeumo chases that one through. Pope has to come out and head away from the edge of his penalty area. Finally, we'll get your point in a minute, Matt.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. There's too much going on.
Ball forward. Out comes Flecken, and he was a little bit nervy there perhaps. He skewed that one off his toe. He went out for a throw-in on this near side, but if that's the tone of the game, we're going to be shattered, aren't we?
Well, this is it. Both goalkeepers are coming flying out of their box to clear the ball, so it's a lively start, that's for sure.
Dan Byrne then, BBC Radio London Sport, throws into Anderson, who keeps that, it's Barnes in fact, keeps the ball moving. Cher plays it a little further forward to Trippier, and then wide out to Gordon, looking for the 1-2 now with Anderson. Back to Trippier again, into the edge of the penalty area, Gordon. Newcastle not being allowed to turn and face by the squeeze here from Brentford. As Guimaraes finds Byrne out to this left-hand side, midway in the Brentford half. Patient build-up from Newcastle, but Brentford equally look comfortable, Matt, when they've got the tune at arm's length.
Yeah, I think Brentford are so well organised, aren't they? Thomas Frank has them.
Ball into the penalty area that time from the right-hand side. Hickey helps it on its way out for a throw. Even there, though, I mean, that was a dangerous cross, but they didn't look panicked or ruffled. No,
like I was just going to say, Thomas Frank gets his team so well organised. They all know their job inside out, and they don't panic. They're good players. They recruit very, very well. They're confident at this level now. It's not a surprise that they're doing so well, and they just look like a really solid, organised, hard-working team.
Barnes and Byrne try to work a 1-2 down this left-hand side. The ball goes out of play for a throw. Nathan Collins just strolls over. No hurry, no urgency at the moment. Brentford happy to just take a breather as the throw-in is taken down that right-hand side. Headed infield by Barnes. The ball will fall to Janelt, who will help it out to Rico Henry on that left-hand side. Looking to take on Trippier here. He's a little bit isolated at the moment. We'll be updating FM in just a moment as Norgard finds Janelt, and then back to Pinnock on the edge of his own penalty area. Newcastle's turn to squeeze up, and Brentford will be more than aware that what's good, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, Matt.
Yeah, definitely. And I think
we'll get Matt's point in just a moment. We're just going to update our listeners on FM. Yeah, 0-0 here so far. It's been a really frantic start to this encounter. Both sides have had plenty of possession, a couple of chances. Aaron Hickey forcing a really good save from Nick Pope in the Newcastle goal. Brentford certainly haven't been cowed or overawed by this atmosphere, and at the moment they're playing very well. It's an open game, 0-0. Back it goes to Mark Flecken. And his ball up towards Burmo is won in the air that time by Botman. Jensen shows really good class there. One, just to use almost the bounce of the ball to beat the Newcastle player, and then to gain the throw as well, Matt.
That's the thing, it's just clever play, isn't it? Using his body to get in the way, knowing where the ball's going to bounce and the angle of it, and just sort of getting his body in the way so that they can't get the ball. But what I was going to say is I think the really interesting matchups tonight is down the wings. I think you've got Hickey against Barnes down this right-hand side, and then you've got Rico Henry against Anthony Gordon on Brentford's left, and I think they're going to be really pivotal matchups, because obviously both wingers are lightning quick, both fullbacks are equally fast. So I think if Brentford can get on top of those two duels, then I think that can be where they really sort of nullify Newcastle's threat going forward.
Yeah, and Hickey at times has played like an old-fashioned outside right, hasn't he? He's wearing 2, he's playing more like a 7.
Yeah, exactly. And Hickey's had a really interesting career as well, starting off at Hearts and then going off over to Italy and then coming back. It's been a really interesting sort of thing. I think you're finding that a little bit more now, aren't you, where players sort of do go and have a look at going to foreign countries a little bit more than they used to.
Yeah, certainly. It's almost like a realisation the world is wider than the kind of refrains of England and Scotland, etc. Aaron Hickey, as you say, went to Bologna, scored some rippers as well when he was in Serie A, so hopefully we've seen one of them.
And he scored some great goals at Hearts as well. I remember he scored one in the Edinburgh Derby against Hibs, which he celebrated quite wildly, as you can imagine.
I think we both enjoyed that one. I certainly did. Here we go as Sven Botman then for Newcastle on the edge of his own penalty area. Wisser closes him down. Jensen closes down Byrne. It's a repeat performance. Lovely little header from Nathan Collins there, just to work the ball away from a Newcastle covering player. And then Aaron Hickey gets trapped in midfield, and then he's penalised. It's Elliot Anderson for the challenge on Hickey. And Longstaff here and Anderson both involved in dialogue with referee Craig Pawson.
There was definitely 50,000 people disagreed with that decision. I must admit, I think Hickey actually was lucky there because he was under pressure. Should have passed it a lot quicker than he did. Anderson was all over him, and if he'd have lost it there, then Brentford would have been in trouble.
Yeah, it's one of those. They've got a game plan, haven't they? And almost an expectation that they're going to hold on to the ball players. And mind you, that's a lovely ball there from Jensen into Mbeumo, who has to pull wide right to get away from the Newcastle defenders. And now some space is opened up for Collins here. Can he play in Janelt? He'll play in Mbeumo, squared into the penalty area. Nobody could get there. Gordon hooks it away for a throw. That just seemed to open up there.
It did. I mean, it was great play from Collins, wasn't it? Just stepping out of the back line and going into midfield, drove forward. And again, the old stereotypical centre half would not have a clue there what to do, but he's so cultured now. Just plays that great ball in through to Mbeumo, who cut it back. But unfortunately for Brentford, that's when they're missing Tony, isn't it? Because he would have been there on the end of that just to tap it in. But it's asking Newcastle questions defensively, that's for sure.
Yeah, home fans don't like the time it's taking Matthias Jensen to take his throw. He launches that one in towards the 6-yard box, headed away fiercely at the near post that time by Anderson. Recycled though by Rico Henry. Jensen tries to play it down the line, gets a toe there just in before Harvey Barnes, and then it's diagonal in towards the box here, looking for Wissa. Wissa will help it back into the mixer. Pinnock brings it down, it's smashed by Norgard, blocked at point blank range by Newcastle. Rico Henry tucks it all the way back to his goalkeeper. Again, it really is 100-mile-an-hour stuff here.
It is 100-mile-an-hour stuff, but actually for that long throw when Jensen played it in, Brentford didn't actually leave a single player back. Every single person was within 30 yards of Newcastle's goal. If Newcastle had broken them, then Brentford would have been in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, they're certainly committed numbers, aren't they, at the moment here? 0-0, we've played just over 11 minutes as Norgard helps it out towards that left-hand side, and knocks it down the line, and a little 1-2 looking between Henry and Wissa. Newcastle have it back. Oh, it's going to break here for Rico Henry. Squares it for Jensen, but Newcastle cut it out, and then Norgard makes a tackle in towards the penalty for Mbeumo. Right side of the box, trying to find a cross here. Can he dink one across? No, he can't. Was he blocked off by the Newcastle man? In the end, Craig Pawson points for the goal kick, and you have to say, it looked like a chance was going to open up there, Matt, but in the end Newcastle covered that well.
Yeah, Dan Burn did well in the end. I mean, he's a big lad, and he's not the easiest to get past, is he? And Mbeumo didn't have that much room to go to the byline to dink it up. But just for me, Newcastle, when they're trying to play out from the back, Brentford are all over them. They are so positive. They're on the front foot. Even now from the goal kick, Nick Pope's got it. The two centre halves have dropped on the edge of the 6-yard box, as all Premier League teams do now, and you've got Brentford's sort of like most attacking 5 players are literally just waiting for him to pass it out so they can go and get it back.
Yeah, it's almost like one of those attacking fields in cricket, isn't it, where they surround the bowler, silly point, and
you can sort of see Brentford are actually saying, go on, play it, and we're going to come and close you down. It's brilliant to see the fact they're that positive. It doesn't matter home or away, that they're going to be on that front foot and pressing, and that just shows that Thomas Frank teams are confident, and they're so well drilled. They all know exactly what they're going to do.
Nathan Collins throws to Mbeumo, who does a little flick to try and pick out Hickey, but puts it straight into touch for a throw to the home side here. 0-0, BBC Radio London Sport. Dan Burn with the throw from this left-hand side. Anderson spins away looking for an option, and then he turned his back on it, and actually he would have got the ball if he was facing it, but Brentford have got it back now. Lovely turn from Wissa, but there again was Sean Longstaff just screening and picking up the loose pass, and then he exchanges touches with Trippier. Gordon on that right hand side looking to take on Henry, bursting in towards the penalty. He got his pass wrong, and Collins has got it back, and now Norgard can find Jensen, and then Jensen's pass is cut out by Burn. Help forward first time, looking for Mbeumo, beaten in the air by Burn. In some cases it's extremely skillful, in other cases it's a little bit like school football.
It is a little bit. It's 100-mile-an-hour, that's for sure. It definitely hasn't settled into a sort of someone dictating the play and the pace of the game. It is end-to-end stuff. I'm not saying that it's like the ball's like a hot potato, but it's a good game to watch, that's for sure.
Yeah, very open, very exciting at the moment. As you say, neither side really putting their foot on it. Norgard does well to win that ball in midfield, exchanges passes with Wissa, and then releases Wissa, approaching the edge of the penalty. He's picked out Hickey, chops back on his inside, then Norgard will feed it back out to Hickey on this right touchline. Will he get the ball in? No, he won't. He'll push it back infield towards Collins. Collins squares it to me. Brentford forced back though by the coverage from Newcastle. And then Ethan Pinnock goes for a first time ball, looking to pick out Hickey on this right-hand side. Down by the touchline. Ball squirts out after the challenge by Harvey Barnes. Hickey has won it back though. And he will try and hold this up in the corner. Two Newcastle players around him, and in the end, it's the home side who come away with the decision. Throw in.
But again, positive play from Brentford again. You know, the ball comes back to Pinnock. A great, diagonal pass with his left foot out to Hickey. It's, the confidence in Brentford at the moment. It's really good to see, and you can see how they're unbeaten so far in the league this year.
Yeah. Not many teams come here and ride out the atmosphere in the same way Brentford have so far. That's hooked forward by Newcastle. Ben Mee knows that Gordon's around him, and Gordon just gives him a little nudge there, and in the end it takes a second bite of the cherry to win it back for Brentford. And then decision goes against Newcastle again in midfield, and it will be a free kick to Brentford.
Yeah, but again, it's just it's really positive play from Brentford, and I think Newcastle, you can probably hear the fans now are getting a little bit agitated, and they're not happy, and that is the perfect start. We said about it before the game, didn't we? How if Brentford can start like that, then it's a great platform for them to build on.
Trippier headed back to Pope. It almost ran for Rico Henry, who'd continued his run. Dan Burn knocks it down the line, up to Harvey Barnes, who turns, has Hickey suction tight to him there. Nothing he could really do as Botman goes all the way back to his goalkeeper. And then Pope has played that one out to Trippier. And again, that squeeze from Brentford, really not allowing Newcastle to settle on the ball. As it then goes up to Callum Wilson. He has it taken off him, but Longstaff will pick it up midway inside his own half and roll in out to Barnes on this left touchline. Burns made a run outside of him. Moving forward now into the Brentford half comes Barnes. Took a little pass inside to Anderson. Square to Longstaff. Happy just to spread the ball around. Tried to pull Brentford out of position here, but the Bees are locked in. Little pass between the lines, picks out Gordon. Nice touch between him and Wilson. Now played into the edge of the penalty area. Barnes will pick it back up here. Run about 25 yards out. Norgard there for company. Dan Burn looking to cross this one in. Plays it into the edge of the box for Anderson. He'll take it to the byline, will he here? Rolls across in. And it's turned out by Jensen. It's not quite gone for the corner. And in the end, Aaron Hickey standing his ground. Burmo there as well. And Burmo and Brentford almost clear their lines, but Newcastle have got it back here. Guimaraes fires it into the penalty area, and it's smothered that time by Mark Flecken. And I think the home fans are really starting to show their aggrievement with Craig Pawson. We're updating listeners on our FM frequencies on BBC Radio London in just a moment. But meanwhile, Brentford come forward down that left-hand side. Ben Mee powering up to halfway before just checking his run, and they slipped that pass into space. It was just a little overhit. Fabian Schär hooked it clear. Jan out picks it up just inside Newcastle territory. Norgard out to Hickey on this right-hand side, who's curbed his forward run slightly here. Now we'll be updating listeners on FM. Yeah, still 0-0 here. Brentford enjoying some really strong passages of play. It's a very open game though. Both sides have had a little look at each other's defensive attributes. No goals so far, but a really entertaining game. 0-0. And then Burmo shanks that one behind. And it is still goalless. But again, the chances are falling, and well, most importantly, Matt, they're being created.
They are, yeah, and I think with Wisseren and Burmo up top, where they're both so quick, with Schär and Botman, they're worried because as centre halves, the last thing you want to do is come up against real quick players that want to make those runs in behind, and that's exactly what those two want to do. And even there, and Burmo's got through. Okay, he shanked it behind the goal. It was the old left foot, right foot trick where you plant your left foot next to the ball and it just touches the ball to the side, and then you miss it with your kicking foot. But it's just so positive from Brentford. It really is.
Nathan Collins heads that one out for a throw. Another ball forward that caused a little bit of decision making to be had. Guimaraes holds it up now for Newcastle on this left-hand side, and then plays back into the centre circle for Schär. The rain just starting to tip down here it's been dry for most of the afternoon, and it's come back with a vengeance. Having mopped up this desk when I arrived, it's just starting to get wet again. Here come Newcastle again, allowed just to hold possession in front of Brentford's defensive shape. Barnes on this left side, looking to take on Hickey. Jensen's there as well, still being tracked by Hickey. It's almost like his personal minder at the moment. Although I don't think your minder normally clips your ankles as you're going about your business, Matt.
No, I mean, Anderson actually made a poor run there. He sort of got in Harvey Barnes' way. When you're a winger like Harvey Barnes or Anthony Gordon, you want to get one-on-one with the fullback. But Anderson came across and made that run into the left-hand channel and brought the centre-half with him. I think it was Collins that came over. So there wasn't really much room for Barnes to actually work in, which helped Hickey out a lot.
Ball banged into the Brentford penalty area. Hickey's got to try and clear it, puts his foot through it, sort of skewed it towards Botman. It'll be picked up here by Longstaff. Urged to shoot, but squares it instead to Kieran Trippier, who holds up possession. Just looking to keep hold of the ball for a concerted period here, as Brentford again sit into that shape. Jensen trying to hold up Byrne, and then Byrne has earned his side a free kick there, which earns a big cheer from the fans. But I mean, Matthias Jensen and Dan Byrne are a body mismatch.
Yeah, I think that was an ironic cheer, wasn't it, about from Craig Pawson, the fact he actually gave Newcastle a decision. But again, I think it was very soft anyway. But it's a dangerous one, because we know how much quality Kieran Trippier's got with these set pieces. Obviously, Newcastle are a big old team. The big boys have come up from the back. So Brentford really need to be on their mettle here. They're sort of it looks like they're sort of marking a bit of a zonal formation, so they haven't actually gone man for man. So someone needs to go and attack this for Brentford.
Yeah, Trippier might swing this in. Gordon's poised on the edge of the box in case it's a setback. It's a low one that's bashed away first time by Vitaly Janelt, and the groans from the home supporters here tell you that that really wasn't what they were looking for from a player of Kieran Trippier's quality.
You don't often see that, do you, from Trippier? He's normally excellent from that range, but that was, let's say, awful, I think would be a word to use.
Yeah. Picked up by Longstaff on halfway into the Brentford half. Oh, he's tackled by Jensen. That was a little bit too easy. Bermo wins it back though for the Bees. Now Norgard to Janelt, and the run has been made by Jensen, who brings it down on his right instep and then curls one into the penalty area. Oh, it was easy there for Wissa. What is he doing? Flashes it wide. I think it was deemed to have come off a Newcastle player, and now it's a corner. It just looked to me, clearly from here we didn't see the perfect view of it, but it looked like Wissa had just shanked that, really.
Well, I think he totally missed it. Obviously, when Jensen crossed the ball in, I think Dan Byrne got a touch, hence why it's gone for a corner, and it sort of flicked over, and I suppose maybe it just put a little bit of different a spin on it. But how Wissa missed that, I have absolutely no idea. It seemed easier to score than to miss. But the fact he completely missed it, he didn't even touch the ball.
So Johan Wissa unable to add to his scoring tally for the season, but Brentford do have a corner. They've put everybody on the back post. It's like
they got no one.
No wonder Anthony Gordon's gone and stood over there.
Well, exactly. But that's what happened with the long throw a second ago. Like every single player from Brentford is in the Newcastle box, and even now, Gordon is one-on-one with Rico Henry. So if Newcastle attack here, break early, there's a counter-attack on.
Yeah, it wouldn't take much, would it? Ball curled in, it's headed up and away by Byrne, only as far as Pinnock. His first touch is poor, and it goes behind for a corner. Well, if you're looking for somebody on the edge of the box to bring it down, I mean, Ethan Pinnock, stylish defender, but touch let him down there. Meanwhile, Newcastle come forward, roared on by their home support, as Barnes goes back to Byrne under pressure from Bermo. And it's not quite opening up for the home side in the way they'd like. Down the line to Gordon. His touch takes him back towards halfway. Now on the right hand side, Trippier goes back to Fabian Schär, who looks up, maybe trying to ping one in behind. Again, the pressure from Wissa forces Newcastle to go back to their goalkeeper. And where are we now? Just 25, nearly 25 minutes in, Matt. They'll be happy with this, won't they? And they've got a real opportunity, Brentford, to make something of this game.
Yeah, they will. I think what what they're doing well is you've got in midfield where you've got Janelt and Jensen. They're not worried about Anderson and Longstaff making runs in behind, because they know that they've got two centre halves in Collins and well, probably me, I would say, are the spare players. So they know that they can just go and press in front of them, and if those midfielders run off the back of them and run forward, they've got two centre halves that are going to track the runners. So it's really, really good the way that they can, they don't even need to worry. They just know that they can go and press ahead. The two centre halves, the spare players are behind them, and they're going to mop up any forward runs, and it's really working well for them at the moment.
Ball up towards Callum Wilson, who brings it down. Ethan Pinnock is like a shadow as the ball is worked out to Byrne, and then Wilson has pulled wide left, and Jensen gets just in ahead of him and nicks the ball off him here. Keeps it in play for Brentford, but they're having to go all the way back into the back four, or back five as it is this afternoon. Well won in the air by Byrne. Longstaff touches it back to Cher. Guimaraes picks it up on halfway and retains possession. They might just be starting to grab this game. I mean, clearly they're not dominating, Matt, but the home side maybe just starting to get a feel for this game. Gordon takes his man on down the line. Rico Henry sticks to him like glue. Edge of the penalty area, right-hand side. Worked into the box now. Little back heel, back towards Gordon. Gordon trying to tee something up here. Finds Harvey Barnes, back to Byrne. And now Barnes on this left-hand side of the penalty area. Back infield it goes, and then back out to Barnes. Just trying to move Brentford midfielders around and defenders around, but they're sticking to their shape at the moment. Guimaraes is probing. Nothing quite opening up here as Trippier then goes back to Guimaraes, and I mean that in itself, Matt, was the art of kind of coverage.
Yeah, no, it was, but again, even down that the left-hand side for Brentford there, that match-up between Gordon and Henry. I saw a stat last week that Anthony Gordon registered one of the quickest speeds in the Premier League for the last sort of like round of games. And obviously we all know how quick Henry is as well, so that's a great match-up down that side. Yeah,
one to keep an eye on as Trippier knocks the ball into the edge of the penalty for Longstaff, forced across field out to that right-hand side. Now back to Guimaraes again, midway inside the Brentford half, out to Byrne. Kept moving out to Barnes on this left side, approaching the edge of the penalty area now, looking to take Hickey on. Burmo's back to cover two. Plenty of blue shirts around those in black and white as they come forward. Infield now to Guimaraes again. Squared out to Shah. Shah's going to have a pop here for distance. It skims off a Brentford boot, goes behind for a corner, and Brentford certainly cannot sit off Newcastle at any point. We're going to update. Well, here we go. Still 0-0, and Newcastle maybe just trying to feel their way into this game. A shot we've just had from Fabian Cher ricochets behind for the corner. Brentford still look comfortable, still very much a big part of this game, but Newcastle maybe just starting to get the upper hand. 0-0. Corner from the right-hand side, bent in to the middle. Oh, it's a free header, and it's headed in! Oh, it's headed away! Somehow that didn't go in. And it's another corner. Is it here? What's the call from Craig Pawson? Yeah, somehow that was headed out from practically under the crossbar, Matt.
Yeah, I think it was, I can't actually see who it was. I think it was maybe Cher at the back post. I couldn't quite see. But yeah, it was a great save from Flecken in the end. He just got his body in the way, and they cleared it.
Ball again into the back post. Oh, this time it's blocked at point blank range by Collins. Whistler and Collins work together to hook it clear, and that's a foot race between Burmo and Longstaff, who just does enough to kind of shepherd that one away along with Nick Pope. So it'll be a Newcastle throw out on that right-hand side, but boy, we were close to an opening goal, and Brentford might just have sensed that was a really crucial moment, because at the moment keeping Newcastle level, they're taking the sting out of things.
They were, but it's just one moment of someone switching off, not tracking a runner, because it wasn't even the first ball in, it was the flick, and then everyone sort of watches the ball, and then it might have been Guimaraes going around the back post or Cher, but yeah, it was a great save from Flecken, who kept Brentford in it.
Ball forward, Ben Mee Deals with it at the back for Brentford, into midfield now with Norgard, square into Collins, first time ball lifted forward, looking to get Wisser in behind it. Oh, the flag goes up as soon as he connected with that ball. But he's going to sit on the shoulder, isn't he, essentially, of Scherer and Botman all afternoon, and just hope that law of averages, they get one right.
And so he should, because he's quicker than the pair of them. So him and Mbeumo, as a forward, when you know you're faster than the two guys you're up against, all you want is the ball in behind. So it's a race, and you can get chances. Interestingly, the assistant referee there putting his flag up early. Normally they let the play go, don't they, and then bring it back after they've had a shot.
Yeah, certainly wasn't messing about that time. Ethan Pinnock has tracked that one, read it well as the ball was played in behind by Newcastle outside of the boot. Flecken takes his time to get that clear. He's pumped it right down the throat of Byrne, and then Byrne did Anderson who did really well to get away from the trailing leg of Norgard. Played it behind for Barnes, helped away to the back post. Gordon can't quite get there. Newcastle still haven't got the ball clear. Pinnock heads it out only as far as Botman. Urged to shoot here. Newcastle cranking up things at the moment as Guimaraes finds Gordon on that right hand side. It was a big palm from Flecken that took that one away, and now Wisser gets a chance to break here for Brentford, and now Burmo's on his toes. Oh, why didn't he play it? He's overrun that. That's Brian Burmo. Wisser still got possession. Oh, and then he tried to find Henry, and now it's Newcastle's turn as Alan Wilson's played in behind Pinnock. It's 1-on-1. Wilson's been forced wide, edge of the penalty area, right hand side. Pinnock still trying to stand him up. Gordon's there for support, so is Longstaff. Out it goes to Trippier, apex of the penalty area, right hand side, plays it down the line, ball clipped into the middle, headed over by Wilson. Newcastle just starting to turn the screw a bit. Brentford, for the first time, maybe looked a little bit unsure at the back there, Matt.
Yeah, I think, in the last probably 2 minutes, there's so much happened, isn't there? You can go back to it, but the chance where we had a second ago when Flecken sort of palmed it out from the cross, it was just Hickey sort of switched off and let Harvey Barnes run in behind him. That was obviously the first mistake, but like you say, Newcastle are sort of getting back into this game now. But just going back to the Wisser run, if it had just played Mbeumo in, he was in his own half when Wisser had the ball, so he was no chance of being offside. He just needed to get that in behind the back line of Newcastle, and Mbeumo would have been one-on-one with Nick Pope. When everyone can see it in the stadium, can't they? Play it. And he just held on to it and just had that one touch too many, and then Mbeumo went offside.
Yeah, and then the chance is gone, and he got smothered in the end, didn't he? And stoppage in play. Newcastle have a man down. I think it's Fabian Schär, who's both sets of players heading for water, because there's been plenty of open play. It's been plenty of end-to-end. It's been a sapping game so far, entertaining to watch. 32 and a bit minutes gone here at St James's Park, BBC Radio London Sport. Yeah, how would you assess where we are? We're on about 13 minutes to the break, Matt.
I think Thomas Frank will be pleased with the way Brentford have started and played this game. Newcastle are going to have periods of this game where they're on top and they're going to create chances, but I think so far Brentford have limited them to only a few half chances, really. I mean, it sort of goes to show that when the Newcastle fans are shouting shoot to Botman and Schär, Brentford are actually doing their job well, because they're not letting those gaps open up, and then there's no real clear-cut chances. And I think even probably the Brentford fans will shout out shoot to the Newcastle centre-halves when they get it, because realistically they're not going to score from sort of 30-35 yards, and hopefully that's not the kiss of death from the old commentator's curse. But,
yeah, you watch in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, we know obviously we've seen it in the past, haven't we? Schär has got that in the locker. He can I think
he's got a blammer, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think I was actually here for one of his strikes a couple of years ago against Burnley down that end, and rifled it in the top corner from 25 yards, so he has got it in the locker. But again, from Brentford's point of view, if Newcastle are resorting to shoot from 30 yards from their centre halves, Brentford are going to be happy with that.
Yeah, they'll take the pot shots all day, won't they? So here, Newcastle 0, Brentford 0 on BBC Radio London Sports. After this afternoon, we heard Tottenham pull it back in stoppage time to see off a really gutsy Sheffield United at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Villa beat Palace quite comfortably. A real disappointing result for Roy Hodgson, who was absent this afternoon as well. So free kick then to Newcastle inside their own half. Trippier looks for a crossfielder, looking to pick out Byrne, who wins his header and then booms it infield towards Wilson. Pinnock likewise wins it for Brentford. Tossed back into the mix that time by Longstaff. Collins underneath it this time. Bit of head tennis at the moment as the ball eventually breaks for Hickey, who can get it down and look to break here. Finds Norgard, who is almost that patroller, isn't he, on the edge of the penalty area, on the edge of the back five. Ball lofted over the top, now looking for Henry, but won in the air by Newcastle, and now it's Brentford who have won it back through Henry, and then the ball squirts back into Newcastle's possession again. Neither side able to really get their foot on the ball there. Guimaraes plays it out to Wilson, who draws wide to allow some support to flood forward. Brentford have got plenty of numbers back though in the frame, as Longstaff pings it out to Barnes on this left hand side, midway into the Brentford half, allowed to turn as Hickey goes back to his position on this right hand side, and now Anderson slides the ball into the centre circle. Botman helps it out to that right side for Trippier. Played down the line towards Gordon, looking for some one-touch stuff, and then Ben Mee comes in with a tackle that just says Ben Mee. That was classic Ben Mee, and Bruno Guimaraes is left on the turf, Matt.
It was a good tackle for me. I mean, I know, when you go to ground and they claim that you're out of control, but that was a very good, firm challenge. And I don't know, it's just becoming virtually a non-contact sport, I think, now. Unless you actually go and completely win the ball and don't touch the player, the referees just give free kicks all the time now.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? Yeah, it's almost like they're trying to kind of phase out the art of it, isn't it? But
I understand why. There's some serious injuries can happen, but at the end of the day, you're playing football. Obviously, serious injuries can happen. But yeah, for me, that was a great tackle from Ben Mee.
Trippier plays it down the line for Gordon. Danger here. Rico Henry got back. Who got the last touch? The assistant on that far side says it was Rico Henry, and so it's a corner for Newcastle, and again the chance to pump this one in, and they've got plenty of bodies forward.
And he wasn't sure, was he, the assistant referee over on that far side? I think he just did it because he's right in front of the Newcastle fans.
Damage limitation. So corner comes in from the right hand side, and outswinger Pinnock heads it away only as far as that was a rasper, absolute rasper off the boot of Barnes, but it was blocked, and it breaks out to Guimaraes on this left hand side. Touch back in field to Barnes, still trying to get turn and face here, still trying to work an opportunity on the edge of the Brentford penalty area. Schär, he's been allowed to run here, Fabian Schär, and then he clips a lovely little pass out to Trippier. He bends one into the paddock, and again it's Wilson who helps it. I don't know whether he's trying to steer that to the back post or head it on goal, but either way, from a Brentford perspective, it's good. It went behind, goal kick.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good ball in from Trippier, wasn't it? And I think it was just slightly too high for Wilson. I'm not sure if Harvey Barnes called for it, but he was just behind him and in a much better position. He was sort of running onto it, so I think if Wilson had left it, it would have probably caused Brentford a lot more problems. But again, even from a Brentford perspective there, yeah, okay, Newcastle had a header on goal, but it wasn't a free header. Pinnock's up against him, Collins is there, Ben Mee's marking, they're all touch tight, which is ultimately what you want as a defender.
Yeah, but at the moment Pinnock is probably winning that tussle, isn't he? As the ball breaks in midfield, Norgard cleverly gets it to Janau, who scoops a pass forward, looking for Rico Henry. Can he get away from Trippier? No, he can't. In fact, you'd have to say Kieran Trippier has done a really good job on Rico Henry so far. And is this going to be a foul? Either way, we've got some medical attention needed, Matt.
Yeah, I think, when you see players go down like that, so what happened to Kieran Trippier as Rico Henry ran past him? Kieran Trippier slid in and won the ball. But that wasn't, I don't think, when he actually got hurt. I think maybe he tried to get up and maybe twisted his ankle or a knee. When you see sometimes those innocuous challenges where they're involved with a player, but it isn't then quite an actual challenge, that's when it's serious damage can happen. And he stayed down. He's not the sort of player that stays down like this, is he?
No, definitely not. So yeah, some concern. And as you say, I mean, Trippier was almost stood up by the time that Rico Henry felt whatever he felt. So there will be some concern here for Brentford. Rico Henry, key figure, marauding down that left-hand side, and you know, he would be amiss if he had to go off here. I mean, there are options. Mads Roerslev, Zanka, both can play, but they don't have that injection of pace that, you know, that we're talking about when you discuss Rico Henry.
Yeah, and Craig Paulson has just indicated for a stretcher to come on. I think it's one of those, as soon as Craig Paulson went over, he indicated to the physios to get on straight away. So I think this doesn't actually look very good for Henry and Brentford.
Yeah, real concern.
I mean, the St John's ambulance guys aren't exactly rushing to get over, are they? Just having a walk across the pitch as though he's having a Sunday stroll.
Yeah. The stretcher bearers certainly are.
No, I think they're just enjoying the atmosphere, I think, by the looks of it.
There's a bit more purpose about the chat with the other kit. Yeah, this will be a real concern. And Thomas Frank stood on the edge of his technical area, and I think it might be Mads Roerslev who's about to come on here. Just trying to see. Yeah, it is. Mads Roerslev is being prepared, so they've clearly decided that he's got to come off. I mean, thankfully, from a welfare perspective, he's sat up Rico Henry. He's being helped up, but clearly he's not going to be well enough to continue. It would appear, wouldn't it, that he's not well enough to continue. And Thomas Frank chewing his gum at some purpose right now, because he's got a call to make, and it might not be in his hands to make it, so to speak.
No, exactly, and like I say, Rico Henry's on his feet. He sort of was helped off, and but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to continue. Well, they're making a substitution, so he's definitely not. But it's such a shame, because he's such a big player for Brentford, up and down that left-hand side.
Roerslev will go to left back. I mean, it's one of those. In theory, it's a straight shot. Interesting weather. I think actually, when he was at Hearts, I think Aaron Hickey played a lot of left back.
He did play most of his time at left back, so I think Roerslev will come over onto the right and Hickey's going over to the left. So, and like you say, he's played left back numerous times before, so it's not foreign to him. So hopefully he can fit in straight away.
Yeah, so fingers crossed Rico Henry's okay. Respectful applause from Newcastle after the ball was played back to them, and now Harvey Barnes has got space to move into here, and this is dangerous for Brentford. He's gone past Norgard went flying in with the challenge and got a booking. So it's a yellow card for him, and it's a free kick for Newcastle United in a really tricky position here. And Brentford, well, it was one maybe that he felt he had to make, Matt, but at the same time they've put themselves under the pump here.
He has, but Harvey Barnes was on his bike there, wasn't it? And it was one of those where he was 10 yards from the edge of the box. If he didn't make the challenge then you can't make the challenge once he gets anywhere near the edge of the box and into it. I think, you know, when you say take one for the team, I think he probably had to really do that. And it was a yellow card all day long, so they need to switch on here. I mean, they started off with quite a high line, which is good, so then at least it gives Flecken the chance to come and command that 6-yard box when this gets whipped in by Trippier.
Yeah, Trippier's there. Gordon has just peeled away to his left. There's nobody really covering him. Roerslev has almost got half an eye on being in the wall and half an eye on Gordon. It is curled into the penalty area. Looked to help it on, did Wilson. It goes back to Trippier. First time volley from him. One of those you might try at the end of a training session, but maybe not with about 2 minutes to go to half time.
Yeah, Rico Henry's just walking around just in front of us now, just going down the tunnel. And it doesn't actually look like he was walking too badly. You know, when you sort of initially you think ACL and all that sort of stuff. He was walking. Don't get me wrong, he is limping.
Unaided, wasn't he? Yeah.
But he seemed okay-ish, which hopefully is good news.
Yeah, maybe precaution rather than anything else. But I mean, he was down, and I think Flecken's decided that they're better off almost playing the percentages here against the Newcastle team that are squeezing right up. So it's been pumped long, looking for Burmo. Lovely flick header, and now it's a case of Hickey trying to get in behind on Trippier, but he shepherds that one out for a throw. And at the moment, well, honours even. A fair scoreline at the moment, Matt.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's been a good open game.
Oh, Wilson's rolled Pinnock. But thankfully for Pinnock, Collins was back. Flecken takes that one on his chest. Gordon's come to close him down. It's hoisted forward. Burmo will try and turn a clearance into a good ball. He's unable to do so. And it's Newcastle's throw on this near side, but the willingness to run, I mean, what they lack from not having a Tony as a focal point, a figurehead, they certainly have mobility and genuine movement from Burmo and Wissa.
Yeah, they have, and it works well for them, and they're playing to their strengths. You know, if Tony was up there, they would play differently. They'd play into him and use his physical attributes, but they can't do that with Wissa and Burmo, so they just play it in behind, and it's working well.
Guimaraes comes forward, spreads the play out to Trippier right hand side into the Brentford half. It goes. Hickey gets there before Gordon, then Hickey loses footing. Hickey's won it back here, slaloming his way through Newcastle defenders before touching it back to Yanal, and Brentford will just maybe try to see out final seconds of normal time. The board will go up. I wonder what we're going to get. 6, 5, 4. It's a lottery, isn't it? 5. There's somewhere in the middle. 5 minutes added time. So still time for somebody to launch something here. Brentford will hope that they can at least take this to half-time goalless. Here comes Gordon drifting across the edge of the penalty area. He's picked out Barnes. Barnes trying to dig it out of his feet. Jensen came to meet him. He's got away from Jensen. He's still clinging on in the background, curled into the box, beaten away by Flecken. 2 fists on it. Wissa helps it away. Cher will coax it back towards the penalty area. Oh, and then Norgard put a foot in on Trippier, and Trippier went down, and the referee says nothing doing. He's already on a yellow card, and now Hickey's been picked out by a raking pass across field. Norgard into Hickey again, and Hickey's released Wissa. Wissa into the penalty area. Can't quite help it across to Ruslev. Now has been put behind for a corner, and Brentford will get another dig here before half-time.
Yeah, it's a great ball through, wasn't it, to Wissa, and it's one of those where he came in on it from the left, but he came in on his right foot just to give the defender that chance to go and make a tackle. If he takes it out on his left foot, it's that extra sort of 2 yards, that ball's further away from the defender where he can get a shot away. And I know he wants it on his right foot, but sometimes you just need to get it. You need to get a shot on goal, and that was a great opportunity.
Kieran Trippier still complaining to Craig Pawson about not getting a free kick before. Mark Flecken tried to help him up. He wasn't having any of that either. So a corner here. Trippier still not back, still not walking freely. He will limp his way back to cover this corner, which will come in from the left-hand side for Brentford. Again, everyone's stacked at the back post, Matt.
This is just incredible how many players are in the box. Brentford are definitely taking risks away from home on set pieces, that's for sure.
Hickey poised on the edge of the box, but there's coverage. Again, I just can't see how they're going to get anything out of this with everybody just mobbed at the back post. There's got to be some movement somewhere.
This is definitely one from the training ground, that's for sure.
Now they've sort of peeled away. Now it's a little bit more like chaos. It's bent in by Jensen, flicked header towards goal by Burma at the near post, but it's high and wide and was never really troubling Nick Pope, and it will be a goal kick to Newcastle. Got around about 3 minutes of the added on time at the back end of this first half. Anderson takes it under pressure from Collins, wriggles clear of Collins and Jensen. Nice play from the Newcastle man, and then he's given that straight to Burmo, and Burmo has retained possession right side of the penalty area here. Back to Jensen it goes, square to Collins, back to Burmo. Burmo looking to get in behind here for Brentford, and to Norgard, but he's brushed off it. And then the ball eventually will be cleared by Barnes, not before Norgard gets a touch on it. Norgard to Yanal. Free kick goes against Brentford. Too many heels being snapped on that occasion for the liking of Craig Pawson. That was an interesting call.
It was, yeah. Again, where Newcastle just won't go long, they just want to pass out from the back. It just gives Brentford an opportunity to press and press and press to try and get the ball back, and it's incentivising them to do so.
In the end, ball forward, flicked away by Pinnock, and eventually shepherded it out on that far side by Vitaly Yanal, who has been putting himself about in this first half. Can't be far off half-time here. As both assistants are exchanging words. We've got Jason Tyndall on one side and Brentford staff in between that. An order trying to be retained by Tony Harrington. So it's booted by Flecken out towards that left-hand side. One in the air again by Wisser, but it was almost skewed off his head, not cleanly. Wilson brings it down, and this is danger here for Brentford. Lovely ball in behind, looking for Barnes. In the end, Roslev just stood his ground, and then Collins has it, or should I say, me has it taken off his toe. It's Callum Wilson inside the penalty area for Newcastle, goes to hit the near post, beaten away by Flecken, and Gordon will watch that one out for a throw.
Yeah, Collins did well there, blocking Barnes' run off the ball. It was like a little bit like the NFL where you block the runner.
Into the penalty area they go. As Grim Irish hit the deck. Referee Craig Pawson having none of it there from a perspective of a penalty. As Longstaff finds Grim Irish under pressure. Still the clock ticks on. Still no half-time whistle with just over the 5 allotted here. As from the back, Sven Botman goes out to Kieran Trippier, and some of the Newcastle fans want this to go forward. They want to take advantage of this first half time. Hickey beaten in the air that time, but helped out by Ben Mee. Norgard will work it wide, and then Jan lofts it forward, but straight back to Newcastle here. This a little bit hurried from Brentford towards the back end of the half. And it's still 0-0 at the moment.
Yeah, I think Brentford will be happy if they can just see this out and go in at half-time 0-0.
Nick Pope not with the best clearance. Norgard, his header forward is cut out by Longstaff, and that is it for the first half here from St James's. Matt Lockwood. Wasn't perfect from Brentford, but what they have done is they've taken the sting out of the game in places, and they're very much in the contest at half-time. 100%.
I think Thomas Frank will be delighted with the way they played that half. They started well. Newcastle had a patch probably for maybe 15-20 minutes where they were on top, but they weren't really creating anything. I don't think Flecken's actually had a save to make. He obviously palmed that one round when the cross came in from Harvey Barnes, but on the whole I think Brentford will be delighted with that half.
What do you think they need to do if they are going to take this game by the scruff of the neck?
I think just carry on doing what they're doing, like be solid defensively, and then just keep getting Wisser and Nguemo making those runs in behind. Obviously get Jensen on the ball to create those chances, and something will come, because ultimately Newcastle, when you look at the league table where they are, they need a win. They're under pressure, so I think in the second half maybe they will try and attack a little bit more, and then those gaps might open up for Brentford to hit on the counter.
Plenty more to come from Matt Lockwood here at St James's Park. We're at half-time on BBC Radio London Sport. It's Newcastle United 0, Brentford 0.
BBC Radio London.
The home of London football.
It's Saturday Sport. It's the final commentary game of the day. We're still at Loftus Road. The ground staff are still here, Luke, so we are going to get out somewhere. I don't know where. We'll work it out how we get out of the ground. Let's quickly go back to St James's Park, where it's 0-0. Newcastle against Brentford. The two Matts, Lockwood and Newsom. At Lockwood, just a word on Rico Henry. I mean, as you say, he walked off under his own steam. He did go down holding his left knee. He has suffered an ACL in the past, which kept him out of football for, with recovery, a year and a half. He's such an important part of what Brentford do. They will just keep their fingers crossed it's not as serious as it first looked when he went down clutching his leg.
This is it. Whenever you see a player go down in that manner, because like I said, in commentary there, it wasn't a tackle. They had the tackle, then he got up, and then you could see something twisted or something went. So you always hate seeing a player go down in that manner, because ultimately, like you said there, that could be a year out of his career, and it's a huge loss for the player. But obviously, it's a huge loss for Brentford, because Rico Henry this season has been fantastic going forward and defensively. I mean, he's been a great matchup against Anthony Gordon today. So he's a huge part of the way Brentford are playing.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, he should have been in England squads already. So, I mean, the fact that he hasn't, I find quite puzzling. As far as Brentford are concerned, you were just saying to the other Matt there that Thomas Frank could be pretty satisfied with what he's seen in the first half.
Yeah, definitely. I think the game plan has worked really well. They haven't really been opened up at all by Newcastle. There's been a few times where they've got sort of crosses in, and Flecken's sort of done enough to clear the danger. But there's, he hasn't had any saves. One save to make, wasn't it, from the corner where the header came in, from Guimaraes at the back post. But apart from that, Brentford have been really solid. The back three have sort of tracked all runners and mopped up any sort of space that there was for Newcastle to attack in. And then going forward, I think Wissa and Mbeumo are going to cause them problems with their pace. Yeah. They're quicker than Botman and Cher at the back. So I think that if they carry on being patient and just waiting for those opportunities to maybe turn Newcastle and get the ball in behind them, there's definitely chances will be coming, I think, in the second half.
Yeah, it's about taking them. Be interesting to see what they do. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Chaps, get a half-time cup of tea or something if you can, and get ready for the second half of that one there this afternoon, or early evening, should we say. Brentford, Wales leading Portugal by 21 points to 9 in the World Cup at the moment. 3 tries for Wales, need another one for a bonus point victory. Portugal have crossed the whitewash, so they've had a penalty, I think it's 21-8, I think, is unconverted, the try. So we'll see how that goes. More rugby, Ireland against Tonga later, lots of rugby tomorrow, lots of football tomorrow. Today, of course, we've had plenty of excitement and action for you. If you missed some of the reaction because you were listening to Brentford, let's bring you some of that now then, shall we? Starting with the man who scored the winning goal for Tottenham Hotspur. Richarlison got the equaliser after all that talk, only his second Premier League goal. That talk about him needing to seek some help with his confidence and with his goal scoring. Then he set up the winner for Dejan Kulusevski, who spoke to Nick Godwin after the game.
When Richarlison scored, did you all know that with every chance you can go and get the winner here?
Yeah, of course. It's a good feeling when you score. Football is all about mentally, and when you see the first one go in, you just wait for the second one, and I didn't think when it happened, it just happened,
People will talk about your goal for quite some time. What do you remember of it? As soon as Richarlison played you in, did you think, I'm just going to try and get a shot away?
No, I just wait. I was very calm. Football it's all about, it's just in one motion. I just put the ball to my right and, hope that to put the ball under his between his legs. And when I saw the ball go in, honestly, it was the best feeling I had ever in my life.
It was that good?
Yeah, no, the first second is on, you cannot describe it, it felt like a bomb, from the fans. So that's why I live, that's why I play, just for that moment.
Your manager must be the calmest person ever, because all game, even when it was kind of really tense and really difficult, he was a solid pro. What's it like having that manager? Isn't too up, isn't too down, always so consistent?
But that's what you got to do. You got to stay calm always. When you win, when you lose, just stay calm always. And he's a fantastic example, and we can learn a lot from him, not just from football, but in life in general.
And I think you have scored the latest ever Premier League goal, apparently. It's just come up on my phone. I'm not sure if it's true or not. I've just seen it flash up. But that is the latest time anyone's ever scored a Premier League goal. So congratulations.
Yeah, that's really crazy. Thank you very much. I like that.
I'll come out. Yes, well, it could be the latest winner in the Premier League. We've had some debate about exactly what it is, but it's still very, very late on. Is the goal that's scored by Kulusevski almost 100 minutes in. Let's hear from the West Ham United perspective today. They were beaten by Manchester City, took the lead in the first half thanks to a header from James Ward-Prowse, brilliant delivery from Soufal, but City do and did what they do so often, including a goal from Haaland, so you fancy your head to be happy with that as a consequence as well. David Moyes gave his reaction after the 3-1 home defeat to the champions.
Well, that was a terrific football match. I don't think you could fault your team for application or effort. They put an enormous amount to that game.
I agree. We've done so many good things in the game against the champions of whatever it's going to be. Good chance they're going to be the champions of the world shortly as well. But overall, they played very well. We done a really good job up until some moments. Probably the second goal was the one which, prior to that, we had done most things right in the game. Even their first goal was a very good goal, but the second one was probably the one which just disappointed me and probably took the steam out of us a little bit when they scored that.
If you'd managed just to hold on to the advantage a little bit further into the second half, could that have changed the game, or was that really early goal a killer for you?
I think it was. They started really brightly. From our kick-off, we played it up, and the boy cushioned it back to the goalkeeper, and I think they scored off the next, in the next 30 seconds or so. So we never really gave ourselves a chance to start at the second half. But they could do that at any minute, Man City. They might have done it 10 times in the first half, but we were able to quail it and kick it off the line, or the goalkeeper made some brilliant saves. So it was sort of all hands to the pump at every minute. And if you turned off or you didn't do something right for a moment, they could punish you, and they did do.
Yeah, they got punished. Another defeat for Sutton United today as well, this time on the road up at Accrington Stanley this afternoon. Showed a little bit of fight getting it back to 3-1, but they were, I suppose, away from getting anywhere near getting a result in that. It's a worrying run that they're on now. Sutton United 4-1 is the final scoreline. It doesn't make particularly healthy reading when it comes to the league table as well at this moment in time, sitting there at the bottom on 3 points and a -9 goal difference. Tranmere just above them, and then it's a 2-point gap to Doncaster, and already a 4-point gap to Forest Green Rovers, who are 4th bottom. Here's Matt Gray giving his assessment to Mark Taylor.
How did that end up 4-1 to Accrington?
That ended up 4-1 to Accrington because unfortunately we didn't take our chances in the first half, and I felt we was the better side. I think the first goal in any game is massive, and for me it's definitely not a penalty. I haven't seen it back, but from watching it live, there's no way that's a penalty. And we find ourselves 1-0 down. But then the second half is probably a tale of us at the moment, which needs to be eradicated and sorted out. That we seem to make a little mistake here or there, and we get absolutely punished for it, which is not good enough to make the mistakes in the first place. And then on the flip side, when we get into dangerous areas and we look like a threat, and the chances that we've created, we haven't been ruthless enough to go and put them in the back of the net. And for me, a very tight game, and that's been the two differences. And suddenly 4-1 looks like we've been hammered, and that's not the case at all.
It was a very evenly balanced match, I thought, particularly in the first half. And it just looked as though we were heading into the interval with the scoreline at 0-0, and then the penalty incident.
Exactly. We've had a couple of good chances. Keeper's made a couple of good saves. We've looked a threat. We've looked on the ascendancy with the wind, which was a factor today. Very strong swirling wind today. But then, he's just standing up in the box. He's not lunged in. He's just. I need to see it again, but there's for me, there's no way that's a penalty. And suddenly we find ourselves 1-0 down on the stroke of half time.
You are conceding a lot of goals.
Yeah, we are, and that is a big concern. And it's my 5th season as a manager, and I've prided myself on not letting in goals and being solid. And we've been really resilient and hard to beat as a team. But the start of this season, that's not been the case. And I'm working. Trust me, I'm working very, very hard to eradicate that and put that right.
I think we need to get Mark Taylor on Newsnight. Because all this asking questions and getting complex and just literally bang, straight question. How was that 4-1? You're conceding a lot of goals. Mark Taylor with the interview. Matt Gray, though, as ever, upfront and honest with his assessment as well. But a hefty defeat today for Sutton United, who, as I say, sit bottom of the League 2 table at this moment in time. Which is going to hurt, which is going to be tough as well. Wales has scored a 4th try, so have stretched the lead against Portugal. I think they've got the bonus point as a consequence of that as well. In the Rugby Union World Cup, Ireland will play Tonga a little bit later, 28 points to 8. I think Wales are ahead at this moment in time as a result of the try. And the conversion, as I said, Ireland-Tonga a little bit later. We'll be back at St James's Park in a moment or two. FA Cup today. If you're through, then congratulations. If you're not, commiserations. Our featured team, Knapp Hill, are out of the FA Cup, and with Villa getting a win today. So we'll have to follow the Hounslow-based team in the next qualifying round of the FA Cup as well. Tomorrow, just to remind you, we're starting at 11:30 in the morning. It is a big game in the Championship. It's Millwall who are hosting Leeds United. It's a really big one as far as what the fans are concerned. It should be quite busy inside the Den. It should be a good atmosphere as well, and it is a hugely important game, I think, for Millwall, just to get this run of games get going again. They've got 2 games back-to-back at home before making the journey next weekend. So we will see how that goes, but we've got full commentary to come tomorrow morning, 12 o'clock kickoff down at the Den. Let's see if we've got time just to squeeze in one more in this half-time break with Johnny Jackson after Wimbledon. Well, thought they were going to be home and hosed today. They wanted to bounce back this afternoon from that defeat, the first of the season, at home to Stockport County last week. And they were 2-0 up, but had to settle for a 2-2 draw with Crewe. Here's Johnny.
We was by far the better team, and the game should have been put to bed. I think we should have been 3 or 4 up at half-time. And we had the chances in the second half to kill it off, but we didn't. We gave a sloppy one away at the start of the second half, which obviously helped them get a foothold back. But then again, I thought we saw that period out, and again looked like we was going to go on and win comfortably, but didn't get that killer goal that gives them a chance. And obviously you go deep into whatever they added, and they throw bodies forward, and that's the randomness of football. But the game should have been over by then.
Had chances though to expand on that, obviously in the first half, being 2-0 up as well. Did you look at that first half and think we were looking the better side here, but if you had taken those chances, this particular scenario wouldn't have happened?
Well, I think if we was 4-0 up at half-time, it wouldn't have happened. We'd have won the game, but we weren't. Probably on the balance of play, we should have been. I thought we was outstanding in that first half. The way we controlled the game, the way we moved the ball, the way we created chances. We should have been further in front. 2-0 is a good lead, but it's not the same as 3 or 4, is it? And that's cost us not. But I don't want it to be like the focus on the missed chances. Just that. We've still got to see the game out. We still conceded 2 at home, which obviously we're not pleased with.
It's a long time since a home win. Could have been today, but March the 28th was the last time a victory was done in League 2 here. How can you try and encourage that to help your team get back up the league table, especially with it being something different start to the season?
I'll just focus on my team, and wherever we play, we beat Coventry here, so like there's no hoodoo about playing here. And we was I don't know how long they play, say 100 minutes. I think for 90 minutes we was outstanding today. Yes. For 90 minutes, so there's no problem, there's no issue with playing here. I think 5 minutes. The first 5 minutes of the second half and the last 5 minutes of the second half have cost us.
BBC Radio London,
the home of London football.
Full debrief on Monday with Aaron Paul from 6 o'clock on BBC Radio London. Let's go back to St James's Park. The players are coming out. Brentford emerging from the tunnel. The second half about to get off and underway. It's Newcastle United 0, Brentford 0. It's the 2 Matts on commentary duty this afternoon. Or should we say this evening? It's Matt Lockwood alongside Matt Newson.
Cheers, Bill. We're here. Don't think there have been any changes as we get back underway. The second half was almost like a set. It was like a free kick routine that wasn't a free kick there from Brentford, as Vitaliano helps that towards Burmo, nodded on towards the penalty area, hooked away by Sheriff. Barely had time to kind of acquaint ourselves with this second half, because Brentford took the kick off pretty sharpish and got straight into it, Matt Lockwood.
Yeah, they did, like you say. It was from the training ground. Ball played back to the centre half, stopped it dead for the goalkeepers to come and launch it forward, and then it was an all-out attack from there.
Like pile-on, the kind of a kick chase in rugby or something. That one is Pinnock underneath this one. Real tussle with Callum Wilson this afternoon. No complaints from Wilson as Jensen tries to help it into the path of Wisser, but Trippier was back. Pope launches that one up towards halfway and just beyond. Flicked on that time by Wilson. Mee helps it back to his goalkeeper Flecken, and it's all for a second a little bit chaotic. Eventually plays it out to Ruslev, sails over his head, and Newcastle United will get the ball back over on that far side. And well, if we could have a similar event-filled second half, Matt, we'll be doing well.
Yeah, and I don't see any reason why we won't. And the score's 0-0. don't want to tempt fate, but I can't imagine it's going to end 0-0 because these two teams do like to attack. They've got goals in the team, so I'm expecting goals in the second half.
Ben Mee blocks off Gordon, wins the ball back here for Brentford. Hickey plays it all the way back, and actually I think Ellie's follow through, I'm not sure whether he caught Gordon, but either way the Newcastle United player is down. It was another innocuous one, wasn't it? It just seemed to, I don't know whether he caught a follow through. I don't know. What did you make of that?
Yeah, no, it was. So as Hickey went to play it back with his left, well, it was his right foot, wasn't it? He's passed it back, and obviously as his foot swung through, because Gordon was so close to him, he's kicked him on the knee, and it's one of those. I don't think it's a twist. I think it was just literally just an impact injury for Gordon. I mean, Hickey was limping straight away as well because it looked like I saw one for him. But it was foot on knee, so it's probably bone on bone, so slightly painful one, that's for sure.
Yeah, stomach churning, that one, isn't it?
Well, Gordon's limping around, but it's not like the injury to Henry in the first half where you could see that was going to be a twist and a ligament damage or something. This was just an impact one, and it was it'll be uncomfortable, and he'll probably be limping for a couple of minutes, but he'll be fine. He'll be able to run it off.
Ethan Pinnock dinks one into the channel. Trippier behind it. Wissa brings it down. Finds Hickey on this left-hand side. Janelt skims away from the tackle which had just come in to shut him down. Janelt then plays to Norgard. Brentford having to move the ball through the lines. Burma almost away there. Botman was like Bobby Moore as he blocked him off that time. Then out towards Anthony Gordon on this right-hand side with Hickey for company. Traps back into... Bring the ball back in field now with Longstaff. Now Trippier down this right-hand side. Longstaff's made a run ahead of him. Back it goes to Guimaraes. Brentford again happy just to keep Newcastle at arm's length, but they've got plenty of movement at the home side. And the ball pinged out to Trippier, who brings it down on this right-hand side. Share. Now Brentford squeeze out. Containment-wise, though, again, they're well structured, aren't they, Brentford?
They are, and it's good because as soon as the ball goes back from Newcastle, the Brentford back five push out really quickly to make sure there's no space in midfield for Newcastle to work in.
Byrne has it taken off his toe by Jensen. Byrne will take the throw midway inside the Brentford half. Guimaraes thinks against playing it back down that left-hand side as he picks the ball up just about 10 yards inside the Brentford half, and then finds a bit of space for Wilson. Oh, his ball is cut out, played straight at Janelt, and Janelt will just loft one over the top, looking for Wissa. Battle between him and Botman. Guimaraes is coming back, and Guimaraes does well just to hold up Wissa, but Wissa's being able to turn it into the pouch and then just scuffs the shot quite tamely, and Nick Pope gathers it up. But again, if they can get Wissa turning face, he's a threat, isn't he? Surely he's a threat.
Yeah, of course he is, and you can see as soon as they won the ball back there, that was what they wanted to do, play it in behind. I mean, to be fair, Guimaraes did really well to go track back, but even that, you could see that Guimaraes could sense the danger, knowing that Wissa had the legs on Botman to beat him.
2-2, black and white army is the champ from the home supporters here. Norgard brings it forward almost up to halfway for Brentford. Now Jensen goes back into his back three. Plenty of onus on Ruslev and Hickey to provide the extra width here. Norgard, little back heel into the path of Ruslev, toes it beyond his man, plays it into space for Wissa, down that right-hand side. He's got support in field from Norgard if he can find him. Cross ricochets back to him after it was blocked, turned in towards the back post, scooped onto the roof of the net. It will be a goal kick to Newcastle.
And Thomas Frank's applauding him there for making the run. It's just when he gets in that position, he needs a little bit more quality. The first cross gets blocked by Byrne. Again, as we said in the first half, he's a big old unit to get past. But when it comes back to him, he needs a little bit more quality just to pick out a runner. Because if he does, Brentford have got all sorts of opportunities to score there.
Just delaying the restart here as Nick Pope sends his foot through it. Underneath it, Ben Mee. Norgard tussling that time with Guimaraes. Jensen helps it on with the header. Cute little nudge of it by Cher, plays it into Trippier, and then Ruslev watches that one over his shoulder, almost gets spooked by the bounce, eventually hooks it clear. Jensen has it taken off him by Byrne. Byrne romping forward now for Newcastle, pushes the ball out to that left hand side. trying to get the ball into some space here, maybe for a crack. Barnes out to Gordon. Gordon being pushed across the edge of the penalty area here as he gets it back onto his right foot, plays it into Gordon, and now back to Barnes, and they just can't get a shot away. Trippier helps it into the box, headed away by Roslev, only as far as Wilson. Still the threat not cleared. Again, it's a header from me. Back only as far as Guimaraes. They're really turning the screw. Curled back post, beaten away by Flecken. Why didn't he try to catch that? Brentford still under the pump here. Ball whipped in towards the back post. Oh, Gordon went up for it. Hickey was around him, so was me. And Brentford breathed a sigh of relief because that went all the way through and it could easily have ended up in the back of the net.
He could have done. I think Anthony Gordon, actually, I don't know how he missed it, but just what you said there, going back to Flecken, the ball goes in the box. I don't know why goalkeepers just constantly punch it. It would take so much pressure off the back line if they just come out and catch the ball. Surely it's easier to catch the ball than to actually to punch it away. But again, I suppose that's the current world we live in, where goalkeepers are really comfortable on the ball and they want to pass it out and they don't catch it. They just come out and punch everything.
Ball up towards Burmo, beaten in the air, convincingly by Cher, but at the expense of a throw. So Brentford have another chance to build a move inside of enemy territory here. Well, Burmo couldn't bring that under control. Cher's clearance goes skywards. Callum Wilson looked like he was doing a bit of break dancing for a minute. And then Ethan Pinnock with Gordon lurking, just drills it into touch, and it's safety first from Brentford.
Yeah, good decision for Pinnock. I mean, as we know, Gordon's got pace.
Boom into the box, skewed off the head of me, cleared by Collins. Whistle was falling as he got that one clear. Hickey is like really composed. I mean, I'm really impressed. I clearly rated him when he was at Hearts. I thought he was a really promising young player, but just looks so confident on the ball.
Yeah, and I think like you said, going over to Italy and playing over there for a little while has probably really helped his development as a player. You know, Scottish football, as we all know, is very 100-mile-an-hour stuff. So he got probably a baptism of fire there. Then he goes and has a bit more of a cultured lesson in Italy, and now he's back in the Premier League and he's doing really well.
Yeah, it's like he can add this sort of, having done it in the tough, full-blooded derby in an Edinburgh derby, and then, like you say, playing in the classy area of Serie A. A man for all occasions, perhaps. Aaron Hickey, as Brentford move through their Premier League journey. Back to halfway with Pinnock. Mee takes a little square ball and goes back to Pinnock. Pinnock almost sold Flecken short there. Flecken recovered well and then loops a pass forward looking for Hickey. Trippier underneath it. The ball breaks for Mee. Ben Mee bombing forward here. Nosebleed territory for him, and I think the touch just showed that it was nosebleed territory for him there.
Yeah, and I think the comment of bombing forward might have been a slightly kind from you. He was running forward. I wouldn't say it was bombing.
He had purpose, but just what purpose? I guess that's the problem. Ethan Pinnock. Oh, and then a tussle between Hickey and Gordon. And the home fans here really not enjoying that particular combination.
Hickey did well there. He's going to get the fullback union from me because Gordon was in front of him and he was on his bike. So Hickey was like, right, I'm just going to grab him so he can't run in behind. Good decision from the fullback there.
Down goes Newcastle player. Janelt gets the loose ball, clips it, trying to put it into that left channel, but he's pretty much put that out for. That was a bit like returning a throw-in after an injury from Vitaly Janelt.
Yeah, there was not a lot of guile to that one, was it? That was just a full-blooded launch into the channel.
So, time ticking down. 10 minutes of the second half gone, still 0-0 in this Premier League encounter here in the northeast of England. Pope boots it downfield, looking for Byrne. Roslev, they just coaxed him a little there with the shoulder, just put him off balance. Now there's a bit of a battle in midfield. Roslev gets a big foot in. Wissa sent tumbling by Cher. It was ball and all. That was perfectly legal. Gordon, lovely little touch around the corner to Guimaraes. Brentford need to be wary here. He's striding towards the edge of the penalty area. Slips it wide left towards Barnes. Looking to take Jensen on. He's gone past Jensen into the penalty area. Touches it back to Guimaraes. Spreads it out to the right side for Trippier. Real threat here from Newcastle. Pings off the head of Pinnock. Goes vertically up. Nobody's got control of it. And it's turned in to the back of the Brentford net. Dan Burn is apoplectic because Craig Pawson has chalked that one off. Chaos at the back there, Matt Lockwood.
Yeah, again, it was one of those, obviously they'll probably check it on VAR, won't they? But as the ball's gone up in the air, Flecken sort of tried to come out for it, and he must have been impeded because he literally he actually didn't even jump off the floor. He couldn't get off the ground. Obviously, he was trying to punch the ball, and whether someone was held his hand or his arm, the screen in front of me, I've got no signal, so I can't even update you on that. But obviously, what Craig Pawson saw was the fact that Flecken was impeded and no goal, which you can sort of understand.
But what it has done is it's got the home fans right up. I mean, whether it's a perceived sense of injustice. So Callum Wilson deemed to have backed into Mark Flecken, as you quite eagle-eyed spotted there, Matt.
Well, yeah, just seeing the replay there on the screen, that is, I think Brentford were lucky there because it was very, very harsh on Callum Wilson. Yeah, he backed into him, but you just can't touch goalkeepers now, can you? As soon as you touch him, it's a free kick.
Yeah, absolutely. So booted upfield from Flecken. So Brentford got away with one there, that's for sure. Norgard helps it forward, held down by Jan out, and then lifted up in towards Johan Wisser. Flag stays down, ball into the penalty area, turned away by Byrne. Norgard's won it back here. Norgard sprays one out towards Jensen. Jensen brings it under control, right side of the box, curls one into the box, it's helped in at the back post, oh, it's spooned up off Cher, and Pope was able to gather. Not quite the connection that Brentford were looking for, and then Aaron Hickey, I think he's just earned himself a booking.
He did, yeah. Nick Pope was just about to throw one out quickly to Gordon on this left-hand side for Brentford, and Hickey's jumped in front of Pope with his arms up in the air and blocked it. So he did well a minute ago, blocking Gordon to get in behind, and he probably should have got booked for that one. So he's in the book now. So he's on he's got to watch himself.
Yeah, I mean it's given that he's going to have an interesting afternoon up against Gordon. He's just got to almost check himself now, hasn't he?
He has. I mean, it's a tricky one, isn't it? I mean, again, he stopped the counter-attack, but now he's just going to walk a tightrope for the rest of the game.
Callum Wilson picks it up midway inside the Brentford half. Newcastle maybe just starting to threaten now. It seems as though the dam is certainly creaking from a Brentford perspective. Guimaraes again sweeps it out to this right side for Trippier. Down the line, Gordon's made a run. Instead of playing into Longstaff on the edge of the box, Gordon goes tumbling. Now Guimaraes picks out Gordon right side, down by the byline. Back to Trippier, first time ball in, headed away by Pinnock. Underneath it, Hickey and Trippier. And it was Trippier who got there first. Longstaff keeps it alive, and Botman will find Guimaraes. It feels like something is brewing here. And Brentford need to stay sharp. They've won the ball back here through Wisser, and it's a push and go from him. Real race between him and Gordon. Wisser's held up the ball under pressure from Cher. And in the end, really good, you have to say, great cover from Newcastle, because they all argue the threat not over yet. Burmo is played in by Wisser, and it was always just a little bit too far ahead of him. And now Newcastle could go forward. Matt, I'm sorry I haven't included you there. It's just been ridiculous end to end.
It is. There's no time to explain what's going on, and even now.
Yeah, Harvey Barnes picked out. Barnes on the edge of the box. Collins got a toe in and just pushes him away from the edge of the penalty area. But still the threat comes. We'll get Matt Lockwood's thoughts in just a minute. Curls one in from the back post. It'll go all the way through. Hickey can help it back to his keeper. And then Hickey, it goes down to Anthony Gordon as Flecken tried to shepherd it behind. And Gordon stayed down. So between Hickey and Flecken, somebody should have taken control. They didn't. Gordon went down. Why Why give them the opportunity?
I mean, it was poor from Hickey. As the ball came in, he just needs to clear his lines. All he needs to do is turn his shoulders and just hook it down the line. But again, he's just trying to be too clever and play it back to. I mean, I've just seen the replay there. I mean, Flecken didn't actually go for the ball. He sort of come across, knew that he wasn't going to get it until he pulled out. And for me, Gordon's just chucked himself over the leg. So obviously they're going to be checking it on VAR to see if that was a clear and obvious error. I'm not sure that it will get overturned, but for me, this is a harsh one.
Will it count? Will it not? Will it be given?
Flecken's still protesting his innocence because he didn't swing his leg. He pulled out, and Gordon just sort of ran into him and then dived over him.
So we wait. It looks as though Craig Pawson is trying to clear the penalty area of bodies. Gordon's back up on his feet. Barnes has had a bit of water. And perhaps wisely, Anthony Gordon has stood well away from everything that's going on here. Jason Tyndall just getting into his ear, the assistant here at Newcastle. So Brentford looks as though it's no issue from the VAR. And so Callum Wilson will step up to the plate here. Against Brentford. Mark Flecken, who gave away the spot kick. Can he prove himself the hero here? Callum Wilson composing himself to keep Brentford square. Mark Flecken, he can't save it! And it's smashed into the back of the net by Callum Wilson. Back in the starting lineup. And Brentford have been breached. With just over an hour gone, Newcastle United 1, Brentford 0.
It was a great penalty, fair play to Callum Wilson. He stepped up, whacked in the top corner. Flecken went the right way and didn't get anywhere near it. And Flecken's now getting a yellow card for still protesting with Craig Pawson over the penalty. And I can understand where he's coming from. Like when you see it again, as Anthony Gordon's run towards him, Flecken went to play the ball but literally pulled out. He didn't go for the ball at all. And Gordon just ran into him and then dived over. So harsh one, I think, but it's irrelevant now. It's 1-0 to Newcastle. Brentford have to come and try and get back into the game.
So Brentford, it's not quite the 5-1 last time, but they find themselves behind here. And it'll feel most galling given the first half, upon which they really had a big say in how the game was flowing. And again, they'll move that little stop of the ball, almost like a kicker in NFL, isn't it? As the ball stopped, as Norgard nods it into the path of me, and there will be, Matt, no doubt, the inevitable kind of uplift for Newcastle on the back of that goal.
Yeah, of course, and that's what the crowd here do.
Norgard flashes a ridiculous, speculative. That's what you do in 93 plus 93 minutes, isn't it? Not 64.
He had options. That was a poor decision, that's for sure. He should have played it out wide. Janssen was out there. It's just decision making now. You're 1-0 down. There's no need to panic. There's still 25 minutes to go, plus stoppages. But the next goal is critical. Brentford do need to stay solid at the back, because they can't. If they let another one in now, then that's the game probably gone.
Ball flicked on by Wilson, looking for Gordon. Hickey's got to race back, and Hickey goes tumbling. Referee's assistant on this near side holds the flag out. Free kick will go the way of Brentford. And the multi-ball system I think was rebooting there, Matt. There was no ball being presented. Callum Wilson trying to make the complaint about where the free kick's being taken.
I think the ball boys and girls have been well drilled. It's multi-ball for the home team, not maybe for the away team.
It's no ball. Hickey takes it to the byline here under pressure, and he's got to the byline. They're still under pressure. Trippier did really well, and then Trippier lives up to his name and tumbles to the floor. and it's a goal kick.
Oh, Craig Paulson has been sold a dummy there. Trippier did brilliantly to get back at Hickey. Obviously, Hickey's run to start off with was fantastic. Trippier's got back in, and then as soon as he got the ball, he dived on the floor, and the referee gave a free kick. Bizarre.
Yeah, well, he certainly bought that one, as you say. BBC Radio London Sport then. Here on DAB, Gary Crowley over on FM, playing you plenty of bangers. Will be with him as soon as this game is completed. And let's hope that we're handing over with something to cheer for Brentford as Gordon gets down that, Barnes gets down that left-hand side. It's clipped into the box. And this time Flecken, no punching. It's taken cleanly. And it's Brentford's turn to play out from the back. Ethan Pinnock says, I don't want it. Gives it straight back to his keeper. And now Brentford will come forward through Pinnock. Square to me. Just lifted into midfield, but it's a cute header from Cher that gets it back. Anderson to Byrne. And they need to find a route to goal from somewhere, Brentford here. Barnes is away from Collins. Barnes has a shot, and thankfully for Brentford, it was bang into the Gallagher rather than bang into the back of the net.
Yeah, Newcastle have got the wind in their sails now, haven't they? That goal's given them confidence. The crowd are behind them, and it's, you know, Brentford need to weather this storm just to get back into it, just calm it down. Hopefully the momentum will change. I'm not sure. I think Thomas Frank's maybe looking at changing it from the bench. I think he needs to do something, because I think at the moment, the way it's going, the next goal is going to be a home goal, that's for sure.
Headed away by Trippier. Underneath it was Vitaly Janelt that time, and then Guimaraes just lofts that one forward, looking for Callum Wilson, who brings it down. Trippier knocks it back to Cher. First time ball into midfield, flicked on that time by Anderson. Maybe if there was a bit more communication, then Brentford might have been in trouble, but as it is, they've got the ball back. Oh, and then a little bit of sloppy play between Collins and Norgard. Almost sees the ball swiped. They do play a dangerous game, don't they? I guess it's the system that they're encouraged to play, Matt.
Yeah, they want to pass out from the back, and the reason they do it is because then you're creating space for other people on the pitch, and then you can get, if you play out from the back, Newcastle midfield are pressing, then you've got that ball into the the forwards, and you can get it into Wister's feet, you can get it into Buemo's feet, and they can cause trouble from there. But like you say, it's a risk and reward thing. If you give it away, you're giving it away on the edge of your box, and then presenting Newcastle with a great chance. But Brentford aren't going to shy away from that. That's how they play. That's how they've had success, and it's working for them. Tonight, obviously, it's more difficult because Newcastle are all over them. They're pressing like mad, and even then, Eddie Howe was applauding his front guys for pressing in numbers and working in packs. So Brentford might need to come up with something slightly different. Neil Maupay's stripped and coming on. Ben Mee's on the floor as well now, isn't he? So I'm not sure if he's maybe got a muscle injury or got cramp or something. He's been working hard in there, so but a change is definitely going to be made.
Yeah, Neil Maupay didn't quite work out. Well, it didn't work out at Everton. Reasonable effort at Brighton, but it's perhaps spiritual home territory for him coming back to Brentford.
Well, this is it. He did so well for Brentford in the first place, and that's where he got the reputation and got his moves to other clubs. But now he's coming back, he might just feel at home and comfortable, and he's a confidence player, isn't he? As most strikers are. When their confidence is up, and they will start scoring goals. And when he was at Everton, it just wasn't working out for him. The atmosphere at Everton at that time wasn't great, was it? It was probably quite a toxic environment to play in. But now he's back at Brentford. You can probably see him coming on and scoring here.
Yeah, up and running again. Ball out to that far side, looking for Buemo. Jensen brings it down, knocks it down the line to Buemo. It's turn and face, approaching the edge of the penalty area here. He's got two for company though as he takes it to the byline. Guimaraes again, just held him out. The body strength of the Brazilian there, keeping Buemo at bay. And then Buemo left in a crumpled heap. Ball breaks to Wisser on the edge of the penalty. Gets a shot away. Wild lash at it. And eventually Craig Pawson is going to stop the game, and he seems to be pointed for a sub. So yeah, the three are coming on. Onyeka, Sharda, Mope. How would you assess those, man?
Well, I mean, Thomas Frank has to do something, doesn't he? And he's rolling the dice here. So we'll have to see how if they change their formation and what they do now. But we'll keep you informed to let you know what's going on.
Also coming up, number 27, Vitaly Janout. And replacing him, number 9, Kevin Sharda.
Janout off, Sharda on.
One more for Brentford coming off, number 6.
So Norgard is off, and Onyeka will replace him.
Number 15, Frank Onyeka.
And the other change, Mope. So shall we? What will we get from him? Burmo making way. Gordon picks it up right hand side for Newcastle, plays the ball into midfield now for Anderson. They're all piling forward, black and white shirts out to that left hand side. Barnes trying to get it onto his left foot, cross, deflects behind. It will be a corner, and more defending for those in the pale blue this afternoon to do, Matt Lockwood.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure the system that Brentford have gone to yet, because when those subs were made, then Newcastle broke, and so you couldn't really tell what position anyone was going into. But it actually looked like Pinnock had stepped into midfield, but I'm not sure that will be a permanent fixture.
So corner from the left-hand side, looking like an in-swinger here. And they've been under the pump most of the game from these set pieces. Craig Pawson just trying to tidy things up inside the 6-yard box. Ball in, about to come in from that left side. Maz Roerslev is chasing Callum Wilson around like a man trying to control his runaway dog as Barnes plays it back out to Longstaff. Diagonal looking for the edge of the box, flicked on by Byrne. Pinnock helps it away. Newcastle will get it back with a throw over on that far side, midway into the Brentford half. We've got 17 to play, and at the moment Brentford is slipping to defeat, the first of the season.
It does feel that way, doesn't it? It's like, even after the goal that Newcastle scored, you thought Brentford might try and get back into it and sort of throw the kitchen sink at them, but they haven't yet. Obviously that's why Thomas Frank then made the substitution to see if that could sort of actually change the momentum of this game.
So Newcastle just moving the ball around here. Mope chasing after it,
but he's chasing after it on his own. There's no one else helping him. There's no sort of like pressing from groups of them, because Newcastle are pressing in packs, but Brentford now are doing it in ones and twos, and it's easy to play around.
Yeah, ball stung into the box. Roerslev's header. I don't know how much you knew about it, but it helps it behind. Another corner, another set piece to come in, another set piece to cause some problems here. And ready from that right hand side. Trippier to take. Corner to come in. Both these sides are set in the box. Craig Pawson reading the riot act, just trying to sort out a little bit of the push and shove, which is continuing to ebb and flow.
But from set pieces, the way that the Newcastle line up, where they're all sort of bunching together and then making their runs.
All right, there we go. I thought it came off the head of Maz Roerslev, but no penalty, no handball. When by the time they put it up, they made their mind up. So
I was going to say, Craig Pawson has already indicated for the corner to come in.
Ball headed away by Mope at the near post. Onyeka trying to get on the back of that. Did he get a palm in the face from Barnes? He says he did. He stayed down. Craig Pawson wants him to. Craig Pawson will blow up here. The home fans have certainly blown up. Frank Onyeka, they call him the Tank, and he hit the deck quite. He hit the deck quite easily there.
Yeah, and it was the limpest wrist that hit him in the face, but he's gone down as though Tyson Fury's hit him bang on the nose. So yeah, I think the tank needs to have a word with himself.
He's held back up. Play's been stopped. Trippier stretching out his hamstrings. Newcastle fans not happy with it, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's their own time they're wasting, isn't it?
Yeah,
Brentford.
Yeah, I think the only thing that might have happened, and the eyelash might have been knocked out of his eye, but nothing serious, that's for sure.
I don't know what he hoped to gain from it. Free kick, certainly wasn't getting any of that. Here comes Trippier bombing forward, and this time it's infield to Guimaraes, and they're almost toying in a way with Brentford here, forcing them to come out. Ball rolled in towards the penalty area, and Yeka gets a touch to Wissa. It will break here for Jensen. He helps it again into the path. Schade got plenty of pace, but it won't break for him. Now it will. Schade trying to turn and get away, and Schade opens up the bit of the taps there. Bends one into the penalty area, easily taken by Nick Pope at his near post. And just for a second, I thought he got away there, Matt, and the final ball was poor.
Exactly, that's it. He did get away, but that bit of quality in the final third just wasn't there.
Jensen finds Collins. Hickey makes a run on the outside. Back to Pinnock now. Pinnock strides forward with it and then goes back. You know, I appreciate the patience, but sometimes you think, maybe when do they start to gamble, Matt?
Well, I think that substitution probably is them gambling, really, with the personnel. They haven't actually changed sort of the way they're playing. I mean, they've gone sort of three up front now, haven't they, with Wissa, Mope and Schade coming on, with Mbeumo going at right wing back, which is, I suppose, an attacking move. But they just haven't got the ball up top and with any real quality in the last probably 15-20 minutes, or since the goal. They just haven't really got the ball into the Newcastle box with any quality at all.
They've got a chance here though. Burma right side of the box, plenty of step overs, plenty of touches, pinged in by Ruslev, headed away only as far as Byrne, who will help it away from danger, and then battened off by Barnes. Janssen watches it right into his path, and now Onyeka's got a chance to feed it out to that right hand side with Ruslev. Newcastle about to send on Miguel Almiron. Pinnock down this left side then, knocked forward into the channel. Well, the problem was Hickey had come short, Pinnock played long, and nobody read that play at all. Pinnock stayed down, and now they're short-handed at the back here, Brentford, as Guimaraes comes forward. This fence splitting pass finds Gordon right side of the box here. Gordon takes it to the byline, tries to stand one up back post, nodded back into the mix, hooked away. Another handball call here, and again it's a penalty award. Craig Pawson points for handball, and Brentford, well, this would surely be the killer blow with 76 on the clock, 78 on the clock.
Yeah, it was just Mbeumo at the back post, wasn't it? It was hung up by Gordon, and just seeing the replay now, I mean, it's harsh, but Mbeumo's arm is up by his shoulder, and the header sort of just trickles down and it hits his hand. So with the laws of the game at the way it is at the moment, it's a penalty. You know, his hand wasn't by his side, and even though he wasn't looking at the ball, and he was about 3 inches from it, it's ball to hand. But VAR is checking it, so we'll see if it's given.
So we'll get some clarity here. But Craig Pawson certainly didn't waste time, did he? He was pretty convinced. He gave the award pretty sharp. Although, just for Thomas Frank, shouting, bawling out orders from the touchline. I think they're trying to make a change. Keane Lewis Potter is being prepared. I think they're checking with Ethan Pinnock whether that knee injury is okay. But Keane Lewis Potter will come on, whether it's a 2-0 deficit he's got to try and turn, or whether it's a 1-0 deficit.
Well, he's going over to the monitor, so it's potentially not going to get given.
Striding across on halfway, the telly pops up.
And Kevin Schade is about a yard behind him, going to have a look as well.
The irony is he's basically looking at that screen with, there's a good proportion of Newcastle fans stood behind him, probably telling him what the decision was.
Yeah, they're all up on their feet giving their opinion. And guess what they're saying? It's handball, ref.
Gestures. They're certainly making the point. Thomas Frank's side waiting the call from...
no penalty.
No penalty. They've got away with it there, Brentford. It could have been a little bit tasty, that.
Your decision, no penalty, no handball.
And so Newcastle still roaring on in the shape of Callum Wilson. Sub being made. So Hickey off, Keane Lewis Potter on. And for Newcastle United, Harvey Barnes is coming off and Miguel Almiron is coming on. Now Keane Lewis Potter, big fan of him in the Championship when he was at Hull. And I think we've really seen him get that, grab it by the scruff of the neck yet, Matt.
No, but again, opportunities probably are quite limited because Brentford have a settled team and they're playing so well. But sometimes, injuries and performances give him an opportunity. So he's got a chance now. Okay, he's only got sort of probably 10-15 minutes to go, but he can definitely make an impact on this game, especially now that penalty didn't count.
Yeah.
So there's only one goal to find.
Yeah, one goal in it. Header away by Botman. Breaks for Schade, but Newcastle gets so many bodies back in the frame. And then the pass looking for Gordon. Outruns him. Roersleff will go and gather it down by the halfway line. And it's a throw back into the back three. Collins knocks it forward to Onyeka. Wide to Roersleff. Back to Onyeka, who's got space to move into here for Brentford. Coming forward. Spreads the play to this left-hand side where Jensen's got it. Jensen scoops a pass looking for Wisser, who's into the penalty area. It'll break for Lewis Potter instead. What a time to come up with a moment of quality. This would be Keane Lewis Potter. It's blocked. Breaks to Onyeka. Brings it down on the thigh. Back out to Jensen on this left towards this left-hand side. Wisser tries to roll his man. Really good footing. Fabian Schär. Or was it Trippier, I think, in the end, who actually got that toe in, wasn't it? And it's a throw into Brentford.
Yeah, it was a good ball into Wisser. You could see what he was trying to do, let the ball roll across him and return. But the ball didn't actually have enough pace on it to do that. So that's why I think it was Schär that got back and made the block. But again, more positive from Brentford.
Now, Matthias Jensen, who spent time with a throw-in coach to try to glean an extra % or two from his deliveries. Headed back into the mix by Burmo, nodded out by Wilson. Helped on its way, Almiron. Brentford have it back through Roersleff, but Wilson closing down. Burmo in turn, knocked down the line. Lovely back heel by Jensen, gets Keane Lewis Potter into a bit of space left-hand side. Tries to take his man on. He gets past the first defender. Curls one into the back post. Up goes Wisser. Easy claim for Nick Pope. Just couldn't get the power, the requisite power behind it back.
No, it was good play down the left-hand side though, wasn't it? Jensen, great little flick round the corner for Lewis Potter there. Things out to the far post, but like I say, the ball didn't really have that pace on it from the cross. So Wisser's got to try and generate it himself. But again, good defending from Newcastle. He didn't give him a free header, so he couldn't really then get the purchase on the ball to beat Nick Pope.
Collins and Wilson tussling for the ball. Collins is booked. I mean, it was a brilliant first touch from Wilson, and it got him right on goal. Collins will feel he was just competing for the ball. But 52,000 and Callum Wilson's appeals mean that it's Newcastle free kick, dangerous territory, man.
It is, yeah, with Trippier probably will fancy a shot on this one. But Collins definitely didn't agree with that decision, was it? He was, I think, hopping mad would have been a description of how he was jumping up and down and throwing his arms around in disgust.
So the ball placed down, and there's almost a hush of reverence here because anticipation, because Trippier's behind it, and he can certainly hit a set piece. I think Fabian Schär's also in that particular frame, isn't he? So Brentford and Flecken organising a wall. There are plenty of bodies in front of him, almost just loitering on the edge of the box. There were two in the wall, Newcastle-wise, and you don't know what they might do. They might just part. Either way, there are plenty of candidates here to have a dig, and Brentford will be wary.
Yeah, it feels slightly too far out for Trippier to bend one, and his run-up's very short, so I think he might even be dinking this round to the back post with Dan Burn running him.
Yep, you can see them peeling round the back. Collins read it, helped into the middle. Playing low down by Flecken. Schade has made a run. I dare say if he'd punted it to him, he might well have made that. but it was safety first from Flecken, and then a little bit of a mix-up nearly between Roerslev and Onyeka. They got away with that one. Jensen, almost in a quarterback role, as deep as you can get, plays it forward up to Keane Lewis-Potter, helps it on its way to Pinnock, cut out though by Trippier, and now it's Newcastle's turn to break. Into the path of Guimaraes, outside of him goes Wilson, and Almiron's continued his run. Almiron into the right side of the penalty area here, turns away from danger, back to Pinnock. Infield it goes, scooped into the box now for Wilson. Will he smash this across? He does, but it's blocked by Collins. Still hasn't quite gone out. Held in the corner for a moment. Pinnock plays it off the Newcastle man and wins a throw. Keane Lewis-Potter tried to lift that one into space for Mopai, who's essentially been isolated, hasn't he? Oh, lovely touch though from Wissa, a ponderous Newcastle, and then it's played into Schade. Schade being forced wide by Byrne. Still really good defending by Byrne. Kevin Schade never quite got the run on, but he has got his side a corner.
Yeah, it was good play from Wissa in the first place, wasn't it? Winning that ball off of Longstaff in the middle there. Mopay's driven well and played the right ball, but sometimes you hold your hands up and say the defenders have just tracked your runners and made that tackle. But it's more positive from Brentford. You know, we're in the 87th minute now, and they're sort of trying to knock on the door, but they definitely need someone to now come back and stand on the halfway line, because I just it's like I don't even want to watch. It's like every single Brentford player is in the well, basically 18 yards from Newcastle's goal.
Yeah, they're all massed in a mob. It's like some sort of viral flash mob on the edge of the Newcastle 6-yard box. Collins has tried to stand on Nick Pope. He's having a good old tussle at the back there. Now Jensen will play it in. He fizzes that one in low, headed away by the first man. Knocked back into the mix. Newcastle will come up with the second ball here. Helped into space. Jensen wins it back though for Brentford on halfway. He goes back to his goalkeeper. Roerslev screens it. Mopai is the target on this left-hand side. He was never going to get there. It was overcooked. And it will be a throw into Newcastle. And at the moment, their game management. And, well, Neil Mopai might get a talking to here, but that ball boy is just playing silly beggars, basically. Should have just given it.
But that's the thing, he's time wasting, isn't he? And then Neil Mopai went and got it off him, threw it to Kieran Trippier, and Kieran Trippier just kept his hands by his side, and it hit him in the shoulder and then ricocheted away. So again, like you say, game management though, it's how to win a game of football and see out the final few minutes of this game.
Helped on by Anderson into midfield. Wilson brings it down. Collins stepped across. That's become a good battle as well. Collins and Wilson. Callum Wilson, for all he's the one of a kind of an attacking three, has kept Brentford's back three very busy. Jensen, first time round the corner, ball into space down that right hand side. Dan Byrne right behind it though. Helped infield, won back though by Onyeka, who brings it down, and then Jensen spins it out to that far side, and Thomas Frank's frustration on the sideline there. The execution of some of his slicker passes just hasn't been there.
No, it was unlike Jensen though, wasn't it, to give it away that cheaply. I mean, he's been good today, like on the ball, very composed, you know, probing and looking for the right sort of passes, but that one was a little bit loose.
And into the final minute of normal time, the board will go up, and we shall find out how much longer to play. 9 minutes. I mean, I guess we had the injury, didn't we? We've got two balls on the pitch. Roerslev clears one of them. Ethan Pinnock knocks it down the line to Keane Lewis-Potter. If anything's going to get them going here, then it's going to be the fact that they've still got time on their side. Brentford. Onyeka spins the ball out towards Lewis-Potter. Won in the air by Trippier at the expense of a throw. Chance here on this near side for Brentford to have an attack. Thrown back to Jensen. Closed down by Almiron. Back to Collins. Nudged into space for Onyeka. Under pressure though from Guimaraes.
What are you doing, referee?
Played short to Roerslev. Knocked down the line into Umbermo, and now Schade can break into the box, holds it up down that right hand side, touches it back. Roerslev, when he get a cross in here, knocks it back out to Schade. Schade looking to take Newcastle on, plays it to the edge of the box to Onyeka. He spins on it. It's almost like they're doing anything but put the ball in the box here. Schade again down the right side. under pressure, loses it. I mean, why just not have a dig? They've got themselves a throw-in on that far side, but there were 2, 3, 4 times that could have gone in, Matt.
Well, I mean, I suppose the way that Brentford play and the fact they haven't got a very big forward line, they probably just don't want to stick it in there. But Pinnock's gone up. Pinnock was at the back stick against Kieran Trippier. You know, if they get their heads up and see that, then they can loop one to the back post, and he's going to win that all day long.
Yeah, maybe that will be the target here. Jensen plays it back. Roslev knocks it into the box, cleared away, only as far as Onyeka. Onyeka steps away from the challenge just about of Guimaraes, and then brushes off the effort from Almiron as well while he was involved. Onyeka finds Pinnock, who's pulled wide, and then knocks it down the line here for Wissa. Wissa is tackled by Cher, and it's a goal kick. Is it? No, it's a free kick.
Free kick.
For the foul by Cher.
Yeah, Wissa did well there, to be fair, because Pinnock, the ball down wasn't great, but talk about make a poor pass into a good one, and he managed to get his body in between the ball and the player, and Cher went to ground and gave it away. So now it's a great opportunity for Jensen to whip one in with some pace and some quality.
Burmo's going to stand in attendance. One man in the wall, and it's Miguel Almiron, I think, who stood closest, just outside the edge of the penalty area. Burmo's there, Jensen's there. They're going to try and tap it short and work a better angle here. I think some of the Brentford players would rather just went in the box, and maybe that will be the key here. Burmo lining up. Would it be an outswinger from Burmo? Would it be an in-swinger from Jensen? Jensen does curl it in. It is to the back post. It bounces off the head of Trippier, that, doesn't it, I think? That, doesn't it? Comes off a Brentford player, and it's gone behind for a goal kick.
Decent ball in, whipped with pace. I think it was just Wissa that it sort of just ricocheted off the side of his head and went wide. I mean, Pope was sort of came and flapped at it a little bit. So it was an opportunity, but I'm not sure. It just doesn't feel like Brentford have really created anything today. Any real clear-cut chances. Pope, I can't really remember him having too many to save. He had that one in the first half, didn't he, from Hickey? But he's been fairly unchallenged, really.
Yeah, Brentford. The one thing, I mean, they've got a fluid front line, haven't they? They've got players who will move around and slot into different areas. We saw, obviously, lots of support going forward. There was a front two today. Support coming forward from those wing-backs in the shape of Hickey and co, but they just haven't really been able to have a real forward presence. And then Flecken, under a little bit of pressure, has just put that one out on the full over to that far side. So it'll be a Newcastle throw. 94 minutes, so 4 of the 9 added on. Of course, it's at the discretion of Craig Pawson how many are played if he feels that further stoppages have been concerned. Wilson holding it up down in the corner though, and Onyeka and Collins desperate to try and claw it away from him. Eventually Brentford play it off the Newcastle man. Onyeka then gets a shove in the back. It's like Panto season over there, as a yellow card for Wilson, and then Mads Roslev has essentially, he's tried to nick about 20 yards there, Matt.
He nearly got away with it. It was the crowd. He's behind you.
Yeah, it really is Panto season, isn't it? Launched down the line. Well, bullet header though from Guimaraes, breaks in the middle, and then it's now on the edge of the Newcastle penalty area, and then Jensen has tried to pick out Keane Lewis Potter, but it skims off the turf, which has been dewy all day, a little bit of rain on it, and it runs away from the former Hull winger, and it will be Newcastle ball. And well, Newcastle have probably been threatening that they're going to hit some form after a mixed start to the campaign. Champions League affairs for them lie in wait. Milan on Tuesday for Brentford, Everton, Arsenal, Forest, the next 3 games, including a cup tie within that against the Gunners. Guimaraes plays it into space for Almiron. Out comes Flecken. He was alert and alive there, which is a good job really. And then Miguel Almiron, it was all like basketball there, trying to block the pass out from Flecken. Pinnock clips one into the channels here, looking for Mopé. And that's easy meat really for Newcastle. Pinnock tried to come out and close down the ball. Guimaraes drives into the space that's been left behind. He's still going here, Guimaraes. Was he clipped? Referee Craig Pawson happy to play on. Onyeka finds Jensen, and Guimaraes is almost like a Tasmanian devil, isn't he? He's just tearing around, clipping everything that moves. And I mean, Craig Pawson has been flashing his cards, hasn't he? He's kind of made a rod for his own back to some extent.
He has, but Guimaraes definitely saw a red there, didn't he? Like, as in not the red card, but he felt he was fouled, didn't get given it, and then when Brentford are sort of passing it just in front of him, he's gone and steamed in and wiped them out. So you could see that coming a mile off.
Booted forward by Flecken, looking for the charge of Schade. Onyeka wins it back, slides it out towards Burmo on that right-hand side for Brentford. Back in field to Onyeka, sets himself. Clips one in towards the Peltier, whistles up there, out came Nick Pope. It was a bit hit and hope that from Brentford. Trying to go direct, 2 minutes of the 9 remaining here, and they still trail by a goal to nil.
Yeah, as soon as you loop one in the box like that, Nick Pope's on his toes and he's coming out and he's so big and commanding, and that's exactly what Newcastle need from your goalkeeper.
Wilson lifts it over the head of Onyeka and then gets the bounce. Clever play, works it into the path of Anderson. Pinnock stops it from making it its way through, and then Collins clears behind. Or was it Ruslev, in fact, who cleared behind with Gordon lurking? And still Brentford find themselves under the cosh here. Inside a minute and a half remaining, and they trail by a goal to nil.
Yeah, Newcastle aren't sending any of the defenders up this time. They're just going to keep it in the corner, run down the clock, see the game out. Good game management again.
And what a difference a couple of years makes. What a difference a new ownership group makes, because it is absolutely throbbing in here. And Newcastle, as you say, just going to play it cool, play it calm, play it cute at the back, and work their way out of trouble. Inside the final minute then of the 9, as we say, Craig Pawson may add a little more on at his discretion, and it's the call here from Craig Pawson. Free kick, is it? Newcastle, or corner? And they know it's just going to be the same treatment, and it's within the laws of the game. Unfortunately, from Brentford's perspective, it's...
I mean, Newcastle is just professional what they're doing. Waiting down the clock, earning corner after corner, frustrating Brentford. At the end of the day, if Brentford were one up, they'd be doing exactly the same, wouldn't they? And it is frustrating, but there's nothing they can do about it at the moment.
No, nothing at all. Newcastle United are going to come away with the points here. Brentford, Craig Pawson wants the game to carry on. They've put it out for a goal kick in the end. I don't think this is going to be a case of Arsenal-Liverpool at Anfield up for grabs now. Jensen has got to get on with it. They're running out of time. If they are going to have a pop, playing it around in their own 18-yard box isn't going to get them upfield. It's not going to get them a winner, or an equaliser, should I say. And then Ruslev has a space to gallop into down the right-hand side. It is hoisted up. Keane Lewis-Potter was the target. Trubbier just plucks it out the air on his chest. And now it's Newcastle's turn to break. And Gordon will just shuffle down that touchline, John Robertson-esque, take it into the corner and run down the clock. And then he does put it into the centre. And now the referee is urged to blow on his whistle, and Craig Pawson puts Brentford out of their misery.
BBC Radio.
And delivers it for Newcastle. Final score for St James's Park. Newcastle United 1, Brentford 0.